Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kev. I am not a doctor, but I am talking about arthritis from the perspective of someone that has been living with and self-managing arthritis for nearly 2 decades now. The topic for today's video is movement. So I've put on the screen here some slides to kind of help illustrate some of the points I want to talk through. But the key idea for today's video is the idea that motion is lotion. That movement is something that you can use to help in your treatment of arthritis. So before we get into movement, I think it's important to have a think about why we want to consider things that we can do on our own, in our own time, to help fight arthritis. And really it comes down to the idea of whether you're working with your healthcare team or you're just sitting back while they work on you. Active patients, that is, patients that take the time to learn about their condition and learn about what they can do to help deal with the symptoms of their condition, will generally see much better results with the aid of self-management. And I've actually recently certified as a self-management course leader through the Self-Management Resource Center. And this is something that has been shown in a lot of their studies, that self-management does yield much better long-term results in terms of health outcomes, symptom reduction, pain reduction, all that sort of stuff. So the question for you is, do you want to be active in the treatment of your condition, or are you going to be passive? If you decide you want to be passive, that you want to just sit back and kind of let the doctors worry about your condition and take the medication, that's fine. You go do that. This video and indeed this channel is probably not for you. But if you want to be an active participant in the treatment of your arthritis or whatever chronic pain condition you're dealing with, then hopefully you stay tuned and this is useful. So the first thing I want to talk about when it comes to movement is that osteoarthritis and inflammatory arthritis are not necessarily the same thing. There's obviously overlap here and there's connections here, but with osteoarthritis, it tends to happen slowly over time and tends to affect older people, and it's usually the result of injury or overuse of a joint. So this is where a joint is already damaged. So movement might not help in some situations where the joint is damaged, and moving the joint, or doing some sort of exercises, or putting weight on the joint, is actually not going to help and will leave you in more pain. The idea here is that you are moving, and after you have finished moving, or as a result of the movement, you feel better. Okay, so this is kind of some of my experience where maybe if I get out of bed in the morning and I'm feeling a little bit stiff, I will go for a walk, and usually after the walk, some of that stiffness has dissipated somewhat. Okay, so the idea is that the movement is making you feel better. So I just wanted to call out, because I have seen this in the comments, that movement won't necessarily help a damaged joint in the same way it helps an inflamed joint, though it is still important to move your joints. But if you do have some damaged joints or some kind of chronic long-term damage to a joint, it's important to work with your physio and healthcare providers. Now, that being said, I think it's still important to actively self-manage this stuff, because your doctor and your physio, as good as they may be, they don't know what it feels like to be you. They don't know what the pain feels like. They don't know the impact that movement has on the pain. They don't kind of understand your limitations in the same kind of way that you do, right? You're obviously very intimately familiar with your own body. So that's what I want to talk about here. So first off, why does movement help? Well, there's a lot of evidence now to suggest that you see a reduction in inflammation after movement, specifically after exercise, even light exercise. When I say movement, I'm talking about walking, yoga. It could be weightlifting. It could be cycling. It could be swimming. It could be anything, really. But after even just 20 minutes of exercise, you tend to see a drop in inflammation. It also helps you reduce stress. If you're stressed about kind of work or some sort of personal situation, but you decide to go for a walk in the woods, you will probably see that it makes you feel a bit calmer, especially if you walk uphill, because you start breathing heavy and it's hard. And when something is hard and physically demanding, the stuff that's going on in your mind tends to take a backseat, right? And we know that stress contributes to inflammation, and stress can make your symptoms worse. So reducing stress, which you can do through movement, is obviously going to be beneficial. Now, muscle and bone growth is another thing that I think is important here when we talk about movement. This bone in particular is very interesting, because I think we have this idea where you think of a skeleton and you think of a skeleton of these white bones, and the bone being this like hard almost like these rocks that are in our body and they're hard surfaces. But if I was to cut you open right now, your bones would actually be more like a pinkish kind of cover. They are living tissue, and you've got these things called osteoblasts and osteoclasts, and bone tissue is getting turned over. And I remember when I was a kid, I didn't drink milk, and my brother used to always slag me about it, and he used to say, "You'll have yellow bones, and your bones will never grow," because of course, the milk industry had lots of ads around, drink milk for strong bones. Actually, the thing that makes your bones strong is movement and bearing load, right? So walking uphill, carrying weights, doing some sort of weightlifting. This is what it will actually help you increase your bone density. And same goes for muscle growth. Putting stress on your body that requires your body to adapt and be stronger and create tissue to help bear the stresses that you're putting on the body. That's where you're actually going to see increases in bone density and bone strength and muscle density and all of that stuff. So building muscle, stronger bones, and this will also kind of manifest in joint repair and just helping your body perform better. And I think the final one of the most important things that certainly I learned about joints is that when you think about what's going on inside your body, as you breathe and as you eat things, like oxygen and nutrients and all sorts of proteins and all this sort of stuff, it's all kind of ending up in your bloodstream, right? And that blood is going to your muscles and all your organs and all around your body. And the blood filled with oxygen will deliver oxygen to the muscles, deliver nutrients to the muscles, and all that good stuff, right? So blood is important. Now, this thing that you have in the center of your chest here, the heart, is a pump. That is the thing that it is beating, and it is pumping blood out to all of the various organs, all the tissue in your body, and all that stuff. Your joints don't have a pump. Where two bones meet, there's actually this sac. I'm not going to go into all the technical terms, but it's this synovial sac with the synovial fluid in it. And there's the same sort of principle here that as you kind of just exist, your cells are producing waste. It's kind of like you've turned on the engine of your car, right? The car might not be doing anything. It might just be sitting there, but it's still going to be pumping out a little bit of exhaust. Now, you put the foot down to the floor and drive as fast as you can. You're going to be generating more waste. You're going to be using more fuel. And it's kind of similar in your body. So even when you're just sitting there idling, you are going to be generating waste. And in your joints, within the synovial fluid, this sort of waste can be building up. And this includes inflammatory particles, let's say, that go around your body. The way your heart pumps blood around your body, this like synovial fluid and your kind of the joint makeup, it doesn't have a pump. There's no way for you to just sit there and have nutrients pumped in and out of your joints. You need movement to do that. And as you move, your joints are kind of like compressing and expanding, right? If you imagine it just kind of like this, it's creating a pump sort of action. And in that pump action, as it squeezes, it's expelling some of the waste. And then as it opens, it's bringing in kind of fresh oxygen and nutrients and all that sort of stuff. So your joints don't have a pump. And you need to pump your joints in order to keep them healthy. And you do that by moving, right? Now, walking is a great way. And I never shut up about walking because I think everyone should walk. It's a great thing to do. Walking is perfect for this because basically everything in your body, all of your joints are going to be moving in some capacity. So your joints don't have a pump, so movement will help healthy joints because it's helping pump good and fresh nutrients in and out of your joint and pump waste out, pump nutrients in, right? There's also your lymphatic system, which you've probably heard of, like lymph nodes that I think are kind of in around the neck and a few other places around your body. And lymph is this kind of fluid that moves through your body, and again, it's cleaning up this metabolic waste and cleaning up after, inflammatory responses and anything like that, right? So it's kind of like this cleaner that's running through your body. The lymphatic system also doesn't really have a pump. Movement is what allows this fluid to kind of get pumped around the body. So, I mean, this stuff, it's kind of intuitive when you think about it, because throughout our history, we have never not moved. So it would make sense that our bodies would adapt and be shaped by an environment that we have always moved through. So why wouldn't some of your body parts rely on movement? You know what I mean? Like it makes sense when you think about it. You evolve as a living thing in the environment, and the environment is shaping you, but it's your actions are shaping you as well, right? It's like, if I go to the gym, I will get bigger muscles, I will get stronger, I'll get fitter, provided I've got a good training program and stuff in place. But my environment and my actions are kind of shaping me. So it's it's not crazy to think that it's your actions and your environment are shaping your biology in this same way, right? So the fact that we've always moved, it would make sense that our bodies would use movement as how it does some self-management, right? So the natural question is, what should you do, or what should I do, is the question you might be asking. And the answer is just move. And there's a lot of movement you can do. Like, you go online, you'll see people out there, there's a big gym culture at the moment. There's a lot of nonsense on Instagram. You'll see people lifting weights. You'll see people doing body weight exercises. Some people love running, like Ironmans, or doing triathlons, and all these sort of crazy feats. But really, all you need to do is find some movement that you can do. Start small and just move. Figure out what it is and push the boundaries of it. So if you feel comfortable walking for 20 minutes, then go walk for 20 minutes. Maybe you can push that a little bit further out to 30 minutes. Maybe you can turn it into a hike where you're walking uphill, maybe on some uneven terrain, right? That's going to shake things up a bit. Maybe you can put a bag on your back and put some weight in the bag. Push the boundaries of whatever it is you can do. And that's the most important thing. And the reason I say start small and just do something is because this is a learning process, right? What you're doing is learning more about your body, learning how your body responds to movement, responds to exercise. You'll start to pick up on cues of, like, oh, I'm feeling a bit sore today. I know that when I feel like this, I can move through it. Or maybe there's some pain that you shouldn't move through. And you're just kind of gradually getting more attuned to your body. And I think it's important at this point to just kind of accept that this is going to be a lifelong journey. This isn't a thing that you do. You don't pass a test and it's like, hey, I've passed the movement test, I'm good to go. No, it's a lifelong thing that you're just learning. You're understanding what your body likes, and you're understanding what's beneficial for you, and you're pushing the boundaries constantly and doing it as often as you can, to the point where you're making, I often say that for me, self-managing arthritis is a full-time job. You have to make time for it. It's not that you go, oh, I have 10 minutes now, I'm going to go do some movement. It's like, no, I'm going to rope off 20 minutes of my day and I'm going to do some movement because this is important to me. So that's kind of all I wanted to talk about in this video. I'm going to do a series of videos on a few different topics around self-management, but I think that movement is the most important thing. If you don't use it, you will lose it, right? And this is true of your muscle, your joints, and kind of your general physical health, right? We haven't found a way yet to allow for our bodies to maintain health without movement, right? This chair is comfortable, but there's no way for me to sit in it for the rest of my life and be healthy. I will deteriorate rapidly. So movement is kind of number one on my list. I've got 5 more things. We'll do 5 more videos kind of in this series. And if you have any questions, or if you have any kind of experience of your own around movement that helped, maybe walking is a struggle for you, but you found swimming helped, or even just walking in a swimming pool, please share that stuff in the comment section. Anyone that has arthritis, you have been thrown into a community, whether you like it or not. We all exist in this community together, and it's really useful and helpful for other people, especially people that are new to this condition, kind of learning how to deal with it. It's really helpful to share these experiences and just try and help other people, because my experience is probably different than your experience, but maybe your experience, someone else is having a similar experience, and you might be able to provide some really invaluable advice to them. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Like I said, questions, comments, share your experience in the comment section. If you're interested in this stuff, subscribe for more videos. And other than that, have a great day. Thank you very much.